Hello, Cancer. Thank you so much, you guys, as always, for being here, and a very safe and happy holidays to you all. All right, Cancer. So, looking at your third week of December, you pulled Round and Round, Vanity, and Acceptance. This one was a little bit rough. So, some of you may be dealing with something that you have already dealt with before, and it's like a repeating pattern where you know that you want better, but it's like instead of getting that, you continue with the same cycle. But I think that there's going to be this awareness of this repetitive situation happening to you, where with acceptance, you're accepting it as it is in order to make the cycle stop. But it's almost like I keep dealing with this shit and I know I deserve better, but I don't know what to do. And now it's time for you to stop having to relearn, the same lessons over and over again. So Round and Round, it says the spiral quality of events when a lesson isn't quite integrated. Cycles you are challenged to break and revisiting a pattern from a new perspective. The protection message says you are you, if I could talk right, are you refusing to see your own personal responsibility for repeating lessons you do not need to relearn? It says you have to surrender now to the fact that you are the common denominator in all of these repeat performances. It says be happy, for this is a wonderful spot to be in. You can now see the cycles that you wish to exit. And then with Vanity, we're talking about I need more, bigger, better, and then that would make you okay, right? Like I need to have more of certain things in order for me to be happy. But it's like the focus is staying there rather than how to experience that, rather than the repetitive cycles that you're experiencing, right? So it says we all say we will stop when we have enough, but there's never enough. You may be looking outside yourself for validation. And it talks about self-doubt, living in illusion, power to change, lesser companions, and empty conversations. So it may very well be about, repetitive patterns with people who just are not giving you, the fulfillment or growth that you expected. But, again, there's still that focus on that and not on the cycle itself and why it's happening. But like I said, there's the healing message of acceptance in order to break that. So it says, though not easy, it is important to start accepting how you feel. Pain, illness, discomfort, work, stress, miscommunication, and poor timing are all a part of life. Accepting how you feel right now is the first step towards healing. Being in physical or emotional pain can put you on edge. You may be angry that you must face a challenge. And it talks about how accepting what is going on can help you identify why you keep having, these disappointing situations. So it's, a common message, right? Like breaking the cycle. What is it that you're repeating? What are you looking at in your life right now going, am I really dealing with this again? That's what it feels like. But with acceptance, it seems counterintuitive when you're dealing with situations that are causing you pain. How do you accept something that is creating such difficulty? The thing is there is nothing you can do about it. So the best way to handle it is to accept it, because it completely takes the energy out of the effects that it has on you, right? So radical acceptance. I know I'm in a shitty situation or, dealing with repetitive bullshit, but I guess it is what it is. There's really nothing I can do about it. Just wait for the cycle to move, right? But also understanding your part in why things continue is also important, right? And it's so hard sometimes because we don't see what we're doing. Normally it's a these things are happening to me. It's always, looking at the outside world, right? And absolutely, there are circumstances where things do randomly happen. Things that happen to you that shouldn't have. Absolutely. But this is about very specifically the things that continue to perpetuate in your life because of your continued attachment to it, however that is showing up. But for you with vanity, I feel like it's this constant, always focusing on how you deserve better, but not really seeing why you keep getting the opposite of that, if that makes sense. Oh boy, somebody's gonna get it, aren't they? The Queen of Swords is the overall. So, feeling a little cold, a little turned off. You may be very, venomous with your communication here. But if this is what you're internalizing, there's a reason for it, right? The Queen of Swords, the reason why she is looked at as the single or divorced woman is because of the lack of emotional connection with her partner. So immediately for me, with this being the overall, are you cold and turned off and absorbed in the things that were wrong because of somebody manipulating your emotions? It could be possible for some of you, right? But we'll see how she's playing out here. I don't think that this is the person that you're dealing with. I think that this is the effect of dealing with someone in particular. And now you're just like, yeah, I'm done playing these games with you, and I'm not emotionally entertaining the situation anymore. In the past, the Hangman. So, for some of you, looking at that, it could be the reason why you're being cold and turned off is because you've been put in a state of limbo because of somebody else's inability to move forward, right? And it may have forced you to see things differently. It's almost like now you understand that you may have been emotionally invested into someone who was not going to give that back. It's like looking at the reason why you've had a change of perspective, and that's because of things not moving anywhere or not going anywhere. The state of limbo, nothing's happening. But your awareness has shifted in such a way where, I feel like emotions are important in this. And it's because of whatever emotional investment you may have had into a situation that went nowhere that, you're in this like cold place now with the Queen of Swords. Yeah. In the present, the Three of Swords. So dealing with the heartbreak of a situation, right? Separation. But, I hesitate to speculate on how that's affecting you emotionally, because what you're showing is I don't care anymore kind of feeling. But heartbreak may have turned you very cold. And I'm wondering if, you're not dealing with a go around, right, with this situation again. But you were in a state of limbo. Nothing was happening, right? Okay. So talking about going around again, the Six of Cups and future conditions, we're talking about, nostalgia, looking back at the past. Typically, we're talking about happy memories, right? A time in childhood. But looking at this with the Three of Swords, I think that, for some of you, you may be stuck with the emotions that you have had in the past for someone, or, a specific situation that didn't go anywhere, that has left you heartbroken, but it's turned you cold. You can't ignore that part of the Queen of Swords being the overall. But there's still a part of you that I think maybe, and I hate to say it, like stuck emotionally in the past. And you may still be going through this kind of like change of perspective with the Hangman. Your best path to follow, the Hierophant. So, when we're talking about spiritual understanding, it's more of, how are you using that in a practical way to continue your own personal growth? 1. 2, the Hierophant we're talking about, and this one has been showing up a lot with the Devil, which, right? That's very difficult energy. But 2, with the Hierophant, we're talking about tradition and commitment to a certain way of doing things. It's staying within the box, right? And it may be that for some of you, your spiritual awareness will be showing you how you have been confined to doing things in a way that have not brought you, the kind of results that you're wanting, or, the emotional connection that you're wanting. Right? It's like maybe there's a need to look at things differently. But I also look at this and think about, what did you commit yourself to that has, left you with this kind of like heartbreak, with dealing with a situation that isn't going anywhere, that's leaving you in limbo. But clearly there were some kind of emotions invested into this because you look back at it, right? But the Hierophant being here, man. In your environment, the 6 of Wands, so there is the victory over the situation and doing the right thing. And that may have been to cut somebody out of your life. And I say that because of her being the overall and her being heartbroken. Buddy, no. But you still may be having a hard time moving forward from this because there's still that kind of like reflection on the emotions that were involved. What I want to say here is don't lock yourself into this. If we're talking about practical spiritual understanding that helps you continue to grow and move forward in your life, right? That is where the attention needs to be. Like, I worry that you're going to, commit yourself to this like hard, cold feeling to anything that is around you. You know what I got from this as I'm talking about this, I'm getting that whole message of how the perfect relationship or the perfect connection could be right next to you. But if you're locked in the past, you would never know it's there. Right? So that's what I'm feeling like here. I'm feeling like if you've been hurt by a situation that, has put you in this state of limbo, be careful about how much of your attention you keep putting on it, especially if it caused you this kind of like heartbreak where, you had to do the right thing here and probably end a situation that, there should have been this like major commitment with. You may not be aware of something better, and that may cause you to continue to repeat the memories of how things could have been, but also how they are. And with the Three of Swords, right, and the Queen of Swords, ugh. But there's the potential here for you to have, victory over this, right? And be able to move on and move forward. Wow, man, your hopes and your fears, the High Priestess. So, here's what I feel like. The High Priestess in this situation, when we're talking about your emotions and you being heartbroken to the point where you're not willing to show that side of yourself anymore. There may be emotions that you are keeping, within. And the fear there is that, if you don't express that, then maybe things won't change. But again, we're talking about ending a cycle here. So what I feel like here is that the hope here would be that by keeping those feelings to yourself rather than looking for an expression for them, there's a better chance for you to really start to spiritually understand why you're feeling the way that you are on this experience. Don't feel like you need to reach out and say something about how you feel, because I don't think that this is a situation that would benefit you. The other thing here, though, is that you may be continuously reliving fears of what you believe to be true. It's like, I don't know if you've gotten confirmation on certain things about a person, but the High Priestess, though, would suggest that this is something that you knew intuitively. And there's the fear there that what you are trusting your intuition on will be shown to be true, right? So there's kind of two parts to this. The one thing that I want to say, though, is don't feel like in order for there to be closure for you that you need to express how this situation has affected you to the person who did this to you, because it's not going to do anything. And I think that there's a part of you that knows that. Now, that's only going to be for some of you. For others of you, this is fearing that what you intuitively know to be true is actually true. The other part, though, here is that there's the hope, though, that, your intuition is going to guide you to this kind of understanding as to why you've dealt with this. Coming out, the Queen of Wands, interesting. So there's, first of all, I love the Queen of Wands because immediately there's this feeling of a part of you that is more confident and more passionate that is able to come out of this. And it may be through being able to reflect on past emotions in a very different way with the Hangman. Again, struggling to, gain a different perspective on it because of the Three of Swords. But the other part that I got from this was this feeling of trying to hide what's there. Instead of actually dealing with it, it's almost like the focus is on, let me just take those selfies that make me look fucking fabulous. Let me put out this, not facade, but part of yourself that isn't affected by the pain. That's what I want to say. And it may be for a different type of attention being placed on you rather than it, oh yeah, they're heartbroken. She, he, they're heartbroken, whatever, right? It's like, let me change the focus of the attention on, look at how fucking great I look. That's what I feel like looking at her. But the thing is that is you, that is within you, that is there. But you need it to come out in a way that's not attached to emotions from the past that have caused you this heartbreak. Wow, man. And it's almost like with the Queen of Swords being the overall, there's this need to turn the heart cold so that you don't remain in the pain, if that makes sense. Ooh, justice. The Knight of Cups. And then the Seven of Wands. Okay. So, again, Cancer, this is going to be for those of you who have just dealt with some really difficult pain, not just emotionally, but spiritually, based on what you've experienced, and you have been struggling to gain a different perspective on this. But there's this reflection on the past emotions, right? If you stay focused in this, you're going to miss something. I feel like you're going to miss something that the universe is trying to bring into you to correct what is going on, but it won't even be in your awareness. If you are focused on, these past emotions and trying to project, like, the best parts of you, right? Like, your passion should be triggered for something better and something more worthy of you. Here we're looking for accountability, fairness, and balance. But the thing is, though, is this is also about the universe stepping in and balancing those scales. It has to. And then you have the Knight of Cups coming through. Now, for some of you, this may absolutely be about an apology and somebody trying to, emotionally connect with you again. But this may be I can't commit to that type of thing because of what you did, or, whatever caused this Three of Swords moment, right? But if this does happen to be a different connection and somebody different coming through, wanting to have a connection with you, you may actually block it out with the Seven of Wands. Like, I'm looking at this going, something else is going to come through, but you're going to stand up and defend every reason why it's not something you're going to accept or experience. And it's because, if you're honest with yourself, right, you're still attached to the past. And again, that's only going to be for some of you, like I've always said, when it comes to these messages, I don't care if it only hits one person. If it helps, that's all that matters. You are so much better than what you've experienced. And now is the time to really accept that you do deserve better than what you have experienced. This isn't a lesson you need to learn anymore, right? And you don't need to stay locked into this place of like trying to see things differently, or like not understanding why things move forward. Oh man, this one really pulled me in with a lot of different feelings and just seeing things in very different ways. But like I said, you have that Queen of Wands within you. Bring it out for the right reason. Not to deflect attention away from the pain that's been caused to you. Awakening, freedom, yes, and earth. Beautiful. So, awakening to a feeling of freedom and not being locked into painful situations, whatever. But the awakening, I think, is going to come from with earth, a moment where, you can kind of just go and totally redirect your attention to nature itself. I feel like that's the advice coming through. So, for some of us, it's cold outside. We've got these massive solar flares going off that may be affecting you mentally and emotionally, right? Like, I pay attention to all that shit. But even if you just like sit on the front step, sit on the porch, you know, go in the backyard for a minute, right? Like being able to silence the mind for a minute and the reflection may help you reach that kind of like awakening to your own personal freedom. Impasse, reflect and redirect your energy. Yeah, because definitely this would be a block from your continued growth, right? And then voyage of the heart. Love flows through you and to you. Wow, man. I would really appreciate any kind of comments for, you know, those that are resonating with this, because I really got sucked into this one. Like I felt every card as I was pulling it. You know, but for those of you who are connecting with this, right, it just that is within you. You don't need to pull it out to deflect any attention